Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, light warriors, old souls, evolving beings. Has 2024 been a frigging wrecking ball for many of you? I am not taking this lightly, but I am going to try to have a sense of humor just to keep everybody going forward. Now, I say 2024, has it been your wrecking ball? And yes, I'm very familiar with Miley, and my heart goes out to all those Mouseketeers who were MK Ultra'd and played, and I do understand what happened with her father, his father, but that's not what this is about, except for the fact that everything is an illusion. And if you feel as though from around December 20th to, well, still now, we have just moved into Aquarius. If you feel as every bit of progress you have ever made was completely blown away, literally rugs pulled out from underneath you, then you know you're on the right track. Because, as I said in November, we had moved into a collective oneness phase with the 777s, and all of us having decided from the higher realms to work with humanity, moving us into even more collective light. And you may or may not be feeling it, but you could literally be buzzing every second of the day with more and more energy coming in. And remember, light destroys darkness. Light destroys illness. Light destroys old programming. All of this light that is coming in, these higher energies that are coming in, will do exactly what I said in November. The universe will make you uncomfortable to make you move. You can't avoid these things. No matter how well you plan, if you put every finance in order, if you put every person in the place where you feel they need to be, if you have worked and let go of every family member, every issue, every guilt, everything, you are still human. All of those things are going to come back as a collective wave to wipe out the rest that no longer serves us. Are you doing work for other light workers? Are you doing work for humanity? You are. You know how you know? Because the rug got pulled out from underneath you yet again, and it had nothing to do with you necessarily. So how do you survive and go forward? The most important thing is to look at everything that happens as a trigger to what it is that you might not have let go of. And I assure you, these last 10 days for me have been so mind-blowingly difficult. Everything, every last shred has been pulled. And although I can't tell the full story, I will say that just even over the last week, there were 2 more deaths. The last few months, there were 4. The hard one, and my heart goes out. I want to take a minute to thank the military. But my younger cousin, from the best that we can understand at this moment, did take his life. And the military, I have many, many family members who have served. And I do want to thank everyone in the military for your service, because some of the things that they've seen are way beyond what other civilians who have not served or who have not traveled abroad have seen. So thank you for that. And as hard as his loss has been, as a younger cousin, There was so much peace in these last 2 deaths that I felt. Normally, because I do so much work with death and dying, there used to be a whole long process of helping them move and release and move into higher dimensions and not get trapped and working with the light, all of these things. But on the last 2, those weren't there. And on the last 4, 2 of them were very, very quick deaths. So as hard as it is to process as the human, and yes, I have emotions, I have feelings, I feel it, there is a huge transition there. So those of you who are losing people right now, and yes, more will choose simply to go because they have done the work that they needed to do here. And this is not a place where we pull in judgment on suicide. If you need to go back, please go back and listen to my video on suicide, my video on depression. Okay? Because if you can move yourself from that into really working with the light structures, that will give you huge amounts of peace where you think you never could have had it before. But we're going to lose people. I don't know how many, but it is part of the process. It was part of the soul contract. But I can tell you this, again, from having had so much experience with death and dying and helping souls transition, that there's a whole different feeling. And I have heard that universally the contracts have been updated in the sense that they get to go home to their star families. Now, don't take that as an out, okay? We need all light workers on deck, on hand. So the point is that right now, you may be feeling like you're just going through your own process again. You've died 1,000 deaths. Why do you have to keep going through this? So, every time one of these circumstances comes up, here is the key. Look at it with a form of emotional detachment, the best you can, after you get over the loss, after you get over the hurt, after you get over the, why the heck is this happening to me? And that's not even true. Why are these things that are not my things hindering my growth? They actually aren't. So, how do you look at what the trigger points are so that you can evolve beyond it? Let's say it had something to do with fear. That situation all of a sudden made you start to fear death again. Or that situation made you go back into your old family life and feel guilt again. I wasn't there. I'm not good enough. I didn't help all of them. So go back and look at that thinking, because we are actually individually here, each one of us as a light worker, to hold light, become stronger, and to let those old programming issues fall away. Holding on to guilt for things that you did not do, right or wrong, will serve you no purpose. But are you being authentic with yourself? Did you go into that situation knowing that you were going to, in a sense, be inauthentic, not honor yourself? And did you make that choice consciously? Way back when I told the story about when my mother was dying, and I knew all the consequences and pain that scenario would bring, even wearing a mask, having to wear a mask. But I put myself and my needs aside in that time to be there. And in that situation, so many things transpired. Not good ones. But I had consciously decided that I would do everything in my power to finish that cycle the most honorable way that I could. Did I have to? No. Did I learn a lot? Yes. Would I ever want to go back? No. But the point is, when you actively understand why you are making decisions that you're making, and you're not just allowing guilt to run over you, then you are rising above the duality of the energy. Now, all of this energy coming in, this whole wrecking ball energy, is part and has been part of Pluto. So I don't profess to be an astrologer, but I do love to watch how all the signs influence us. And Pluto is the destroyer. And it will destroy anything that stops you from being reborn into wholeness. And these are done in pieces, which is why even if you perfectly planned everything, some things still have to fall apart because they could be tied to your old familial bloodlines. They could be tied to ancestral wounds, and they could be tied to, remember, if in November we had moved up into the singularity of the collective, we're doing cleansings and clearings for others. This will not go unnoticed. Your pain and clearing and letting go is the greatest gift that could be given to you. It may not feel like it right now, but all of the light that's coming in is breaking all those final matrix pieces. The veils, the lies, the programming. But you have to be willing to step beyond it. So again, nurture yourself in those moments. I am not asking anybody to dissociate or not feel the pain. Feel the pain. Let yourself express the grief, express the emotion. Some of these people who have recently passed, I had kind of hoped would make it because they had sections of light in them that were way beyond what most people understood. One of them specifically held some light that I'm sure, in Dolores Cannon's words, would have been one of the first ones to arrive here to help us push this energy through. But I feel very peaceful because she's free. And again, that energy that I usually feel of helping people move through hasn't been there, which is just a phenomenal, phenomenal sign. So as these fragments continue to break off, do your best after you have mourned or felt grief or put yourself through the friggin' biggest guilt trip you possibly could because you caused or created something, which most likely you didn't. Most likely it was the circumstance that needed to happen. And of course, remember, as the big controller, you actually are setting these situations up in front of you to prove and show and rise above until they don't have the same stronghold on you. You know you're making progress when little by little you can move through these horrible hits and keep on going. Keep soaring. Keep moving forward. And again, this is not dissociation. This is not burying your emotions and not dealing with them. This is something so much bigger. Let everything be destroyed. Let everything fall apart. Let the 3D illusion continue to literally disintegrate. And as you keep focusing on the higher, the better, the peace, the flow, the oneness, the 0 point, this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. This is where our light will shine. This is how we bring in the higher dimensions so that they are visible to humanity. So hang in there. My heart is with you. This has not been an easy start to 2024. These things will continue to happen, but again, they are for the collective. So keep hanging in. I have some hysterical stories about the musical Hair, Aquarius, when it first came out, a theater that I was in New York City. But I'll save it because it's already 16 minutes in. So try to have a sense of humor. Binge watch your favorite crazy little ridiculous movie or story or show. I actually took a second and looked at The Housewives because I used to live in New York, New Jersey. And I mean, I'm laughing because it's just so extreme. It's so extreme. And those people aren't even the people they were before. But it was kind of funny to see them after all these years. So if that's what you need to give yourself a laugh, to move forward, and to let all those other pieces break off of you, then that's okay. Just love yourself for every little quirk, every little thing. Don't hold on to the guilt. Again, as I always say, so what if you messed up? So what if you feel like you backtracked? You probably didn't. You probably think you did, but you were actually getting a whole push forward. So hang in there. I love you from the bottom of my heart. Have a beautiful and glorious day. Oh, yeah. And feel free to hit like, subscribe, and comment. Bye-bye. Love you.